is a completely different proposition, and it is an absolutely staggering achievement, having appeared to have been all done in one shot, even though it stretched over 4 hours. Jamie has been accused of a heinous crime of murdering a teenage girl, and the thing is, as an audience member, you see this literally in a sort of docudrama style over the shoulder of the cameraman as it's sort of, as they go to the house initially on that first episode, and they go up the stairs and they arrest Jamie Miller, and then the camera goes back down out of the house and follows them drone style to the police station. It really is a staggering technical achievement, and everybody's performance is absolutely flawless. This is a really unpleasant watch. Be warned, Adolescence is not for people, shall we say, with a meek disposition, because it really does it explores some serious social issues in terms of the way social media is influencing the way that children are growing up. So I'm going to be giving Adolescence a 5 out of 5 on the big old 5 scale. This really is a show that you need to pay attention to. You need to track it down and see it, if only once, just so that you have an opinion that you can throw into the mix should somebody approach you and actually want to have a conversation. So Mobland is essentially a London-based gangland crime drama. It features Harry D'Souza, played by Tom Hardy. He is a fixer for the Harrigan family. They are an Irish gangster mob clan led by Conrad, played by Pierce Brosnan, and Maeve, played by Helen Mirren. It's well scripted, it's slick, it's co-written by Ronan Bennett, who people will know from being behind Top Boy, which is on Netflix, as well as Day of the Jackal, which is the Eddie Redmayne adaptation. You've also got Jez Butterworth in there, who was behind The Agency and was a co-writer on Edge of Tomorrow. That's the Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt film. So this really does kick ass. It really does take names. It really is a decent show. It doesn't do anything particularly exciting or original, but what it does really well. So I'm going to be giving a Mobland 4 out of 5 on the big old 5 scale, because it is what it does really well. Tom Hardy gives the performance which really holds this drama series together. There are Guy Ritchie touchstones in there within the characters. Pierce Brosnan is very good as Conrad Harrigan, as is Helen Mirren. Paddy Constantine acquits himself well as usual, and it's a decent British gritty crime drama. It stars Kevin Bacon as Hub Halloran. He is the bondsman of the title. Within 5 minutes, he's had his throat slit and he is left in the cavity wall insulation to rot, only to come back to life, tape his neck up, which has got a massive gaping cavity in it, and then go back to see his mother, Kitty. Essentially, we've got a little bit of Buffy, we've got a little bit of Good Omens, we've got a whole bunch of Preacher, and we've got some other stuff influence-wise thrown in for good measure. Essentially, it's about trying to get a family back together. But unfortunately, the problem is he's dead and he's going back to hell. So that is the obstacle. That is the quandary. So you've got the Sam Raimi influences. You've got Angel Heart in there as well. That's the De Niro, Mickey Rourke, Alan Parker movie, as well as the original Blade influences. Right, so I'm going to be giving the Bondsman a 4 out of 5 on the big old 5 scale. Why? Because, to be absolutely brutally honest, Kevin Bacon owns this role. This is his show. This is him cutting loose and having fun. But it's also got pathos. It's also got drama. It's got the family dynamic. It's got obstacles to overcome, and it's just pure B-movie schlock horror. So for anybody who doesn't know the story, this is literally about a shepherd boy beating a giant like 3 times his size with a slingshot. It is about a war between the Israelites and the Philistines in Israel before the birth of Christ. It is real, shall we say, biblical epic stuff. So the upshot of it is that King Saul has relinquished God. He is no longer he's no longer a believer in that true sense. He has more faith in himself. God casts him out, and then David is anointed by Samuel. That is the cut and the thrust of it. But he is overlooked. He is, he's sort of driven by these biblical sort of visions that he gets, and it really is a long and sort of drawn out sort of political intrigue type story. Shows like this they no longer exist. They apart from maybe Lord of the Rings of Power, or maybe House of Dragons, this is a sort of breadth and scale that you're looking at. So having been with House of David since the beginning, I can categorically categorically give this a 4 out of 5 on the big old 5 scale. It has the breadth, it has the story. It was created by David Irwin and John Gunn, and it really is just a very impressive piece of storytelling in a very traditional sort of Cecil B. DeMille Ten Commandments type way. So I think it's fair to say that straight off the bat you need to experience Warfare on the biggest IMAX screen you can find. The better the sound system, the more immersive the experience. Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza have really genuinely created something incredible, incredibly personal, incredibly intimate, extremely violent in many ways, psychologically damaging, but there is no story, there are no character introductions as such, there is no narrative, there is no resolution. It just starts and it stops and it leaves you sort of shell-shocked. So because it doesn't really have a story, because it doesn't really have characters that are fully formed in terms of introduction, and you get character shades, you get bits that come through the dialogue, but the dialogue is so sparse. So you really are literally dropped into this situation in the midst of this unit of soldiers, and expected to sort of immerse yourself and engage with these characters. And there is an awful lot of waiting around. There's an awful lot of tedium almost, but that is obviously building tension toward the event which we know is coming. That is not a narrative trick. There's no plot device there. This is what happened. This is the recollection. This is what happened to these people. And it's, you know, ultimately it's just a testament to the legacy of the bravery behind these men that went to war and came back in various bits and pieces. And I don't mean that in a derogatory, violent way. I mean literally just psychologically, or you know, the bond between them. So I'm going to be giving Warfare 5 out of 5 on the big old 5 scale. Purely because it really is such a unique war film, which is not necessarily a war film in the conventional sense. It is about the conflict, about the necessity for conflict, and about the impact it has, and also how Hollywood ultimately and how films have tended to glorify or sort of put it on a pedestal and turn it into something which it very much is not. So after 6 seasons of Black Mirror, audiences are now quite prepared for what's coming. They know how the sausage is made, essentially. So Charlie Brooker's job as writer is to try and reinvent the wheel every single time. And with Common People, he sort of does something quite decent with the idea of subscription services and puts a really dark twist on it. Amanda has a brain tumour and has to have it removed. They can't afford it. And ultimately there is this experimental procedure which comes out of the blue, which allows that tumour to go away, only for it to be replaced by something synthetic. But that does come with limitations, and this is where the twist in the tale comes in this particular Black Mirror episode. So slowly but surely Amanda starts to revitalise, having had this synthetic thing put in her head, but it comes with limitations. There are masks, she has various amounts of coverage. If they go outside of those areas, then she just stops working. It really is, it's like a mobile phone tariff almost. And then you'll get ads on top of that. So she starts talking about, you know, things which are completely unrelated to what they're talking about in a conversation, and in really inappropriate moments. So there is that satire, there is that darkness, there is that Black Mirror edge. So I'm going to be giving Common People episode 1 season 7 of Black Mirror a 4 out of 5 on the big old 5 scale. Why? Because it's well cast. Chris O'Dowd and Rashida Jones are very engaging as Mike and Amanda. It does hit certain tick boxes in terms of what Black Mirror episodes are supposed to deliver, and it feels relevant, it feels satirical from certain perspectives, and it's well worth it in terms of it being an episode 1 opener. So up front, I'm going to say I'm not a fan of musicals, and going into this I had my reservations, you might say, but let's be honest, with Ariana Grande there as Galinda, and you've also got, as I said, Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, you've actually got a powerhouse of vocal performance, which is really surprising. The production design on Wicked is absolutely astronomical because it was done by Nathan Crowley. Now, people who don't know the name will know the name as soon as I say Interstellar. Interstellar or I say The Dark Knight, because it's the same guy. This really does, Wicked really comes alive through its production design. It's a really engaging piece of work. For someone who doesn't actually watch musicals, for someone who actually isn't that interested in them, the songs are pretty cool, and the story is really good. So as an origin story for the Wicked Witch of the West, this works really well. So Cynthia Erivo is incredibly good, and Ariana Grande is a huge surprise because she isn't annoying, and I thought she was going to be quite annoying in this. She does play an ingenue, she does play a spoiled brat very well, but she really has got the vocals to carry this off. So I'm going to be giving Wicked, the home entertainment release, a 4 out of 5 on the big old 5 scale, because ultimately the production design is awesome, the characters are well developed, the performances are spot on. As I said, the only quibbles, the only niggles I've got are Jeff Goldblum is far too dialed down for this, and that the film itself is way too long. So there's a murder in the White House in the middle of a state dinner. 3 floors above, you've got the body of A.B. Winter, played by Giancarlo Esposito, laying prostrate. You've got the FBI who don't know what to do. The police are the only ones. They come in, they call in Cordelia Cup, played by Uzu Aduba, who is absolutely magnetic in the role. She is the female equivalent of Benoit Blanc from the Rian Johnson Knives Out trilogy, or soon to be trilogy, and she soon sets about getting to the bottom of this. It's got a sharp script, it's got an incredibly well connected cast in terms of they do the performance, they feel viable and valuable and relevant on screen. Cordelia Cup is clearly the most intelligent person in the room, and it's really good to have a show which is led by a female detective, where you've got essentially this disparity between the people who should be in power, the people who should know what they're doing, and this woman who just comes in and completely takes charge. So I'm going to be giving The Residents a 4 out of 5 on the big old 5 scale, because, as I say, Uzo Aduba is so good as Cordelia Cup. She literally owns this show. You've got a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine alumni, which sort of explains why Brower was going to be in it to begin with. It is a very well constructed murder mystery. As I said, there are so many different elements to this which gel and work so well, and it really does deserve much more attention, I think, than it's getting. So on that note, I'm going to dive into the trailer. Let's do that. And so it is, you've reached the end of the video review for The Residents, which is currently streaming on Netflix and stars Uzo Aduba from Orange is the New Black as Cordelia Cup. So if you've liked this video, then give me a thumbs up. Failing that, you can always just drop a comment in the comment box below and I will respond. And finally, just subscribe so that every Tuesday and every Saturday when I drop another one of these videos literally into your lap, you get a little notification and you can pop in and watch or listen to as much or as little as you'd like, and then go about your day. In the meantime, check out the rest of the channel, maybe pop over to the Patreon page. Take care. Cheers now. Bye.